parents. They seem to be in such a major... Hey, it's Erica Kane, and welcome to the WMAR podcast. Today's guest is a young entrepreneur, a chef, a content creator, a dreamer and executor, and she just happens to be the daughter of one of the most fashionable people in show business. And while the world is her oyster and Hollywood is within arm's reach, she chose to come here to Baltimore to embark on her collegiate studies at the Morgan State University, a public historically Black research university here in Baltimore and the largest of Maryland's historically Black colleges and universities. And we're happy to have her here to chat about her endeavors, her many accomplishments at just 19 years old. So please help me welcome Summer Hope Chamblin.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad that you could make it. Before we get into everything, all the great things that you're doing at Morgan, we'll just take it back a little bit so we can just learn more about you, all right? Were you born on the West Coast, East Coast?
No, I was born in Manhattan, New York.
Okay.
Raised in the same place my whole life.
Okay, so you're an East Coast girl for sure.
Definitely.
Okay, all right, good. So, Baltimore to New York, some may say that's a far stretch. I am from that area as well, Jersey City to be exact. And so, you come up thinking that New York is like it. Right?
I still think it is.
Okay. Like home is like it. And then you make it to Baltimore, and then some folks are like, yeah, if you can make it in Baltimore, you can make it anywhere. And then you find out, Baltimore has some things about it, okay? Your mom is June Ambrose, okay? One of the most iconic stylists and costume designers in musical Hollywood. Her clientele includes Mariah Carey, Jay-Z, Backstreet Boys, Alicia Keys, Enrique Iglesias, Missy Elliott. The list goes on, Jason Derulo, Zoe Saldana. So you grew up rubbing shoulders with the likes of Beyonce and actresses of the like. That has to influence your journey.
I think that because I was raised into it, it wasn't really like a, oh my God, like this is my life moment, because it's all I ever knew growing up. So to me, it was like my quote unquote like normal life.
Okay.
So when everybody always asks me, like, what's it like? I'm just like, they're regular people. They're just like us. They just have, like, an incredible influence on other people. But, like, deep down, we all eat the same food. We all sleep in the same beds. Like, we're all just people. So I think that while it is incredible to be surrounded by such talented people, I just see it as... they're just people to me. I don't see them as, like, these huge celebrities or, like, I completely, like, fan out, like, oh, my God, like, this is my life.
Right.
Because I don't really know.
It's like auntie so-and-so, uncle so-and-so. It's a family type of thing. You've been doing this so long.
I don't really know, like, how to speak from a person who's, like, not grown up in it. Because that's all I know.
Right. So you didn't have, I guess, that moment, that epiphany moment where you're like, wait, my mom is a little bit different than the other moms. My mom is kind of that girl.
I've always known that my mom was that girl, honestly. Both my parents are so incredible, and I definitely realize how grateful I am to have lived the life that I live. Like, I tell myself every day when I do, like, my morning affirmations, like, be grateful for the life you have. This is incredible. I've been given such an incredible opportunity, and I don't want to waste it. And my parents worked so hard for me and my brother to have the life that we have, so I really never take that for granted.
Morning affirmations, we're going to get back to that. But you mentioned your dad, Mark Chamblin is your dad, and your parents both seem so supportive of you, and that's so important. Especially, sometimes working in the industry, some folks can get caught up in their own thing, but your parents seem like they were about their children and about supporting your dreams, supporting your goals. Most definitely.
I think that my parents always allowed me and my brother to be exactly who we wanted to be. There was never, like, a force to do this. Like, if we didn't want to do it, we didn't have to do it. Like, if I didn't want to be on social media, I wouldn't have to. It was really just them allowing me to figure out what I love, and they supported me 100%. If I wanted to play a sport, they'd put me in the sport that I wanted to play. If I wanted to dance, I'd get to dance. And I finally told them, like, hey, like, culinary is where I want to be. I want to be in business. Like, this is what I want. And they're just like, we support you 100%. Pick the college that you want to go to, apply, work hard, get good grades, get in, and, they're going to have my back no matter what.
So your parents are bustling through Hollywood and you decide business is my thing. Culinary arts is my thing. How did that come about? Could you always cook? Were you in the kitchen at a young age?
I started cooking when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
Both of my parents cook really, really well.
Okay, both of them.
They both cook really well. A lot of the time when my mom was like on the road, my dad would be making curry, fried fish.
Okay.
Like he was doing everything.
Now, is it something in the culture?
My grandfather on my dad's side is from Haiti.
Okay.
And my grandmother is Guyanese.
Okay.
And then my mom was born in Antigua. So
you got the mix.
I have a good mix.
Okay.
So, and thank God my dad knows how to cook curry and everything like that. So I was always like surrounded by that type of food and that culture. And my mom too. My mom would make me saltfish every morning. I was so happy. I was like, if I told her I want saltfish, like it would be right there. She's like, I got you.
Wow.
So yeah, and I fell in love with Haitian food and its culture. Like I really, really love food. Like I don't know what it is, but as soon as I saw my parents cooking in the kitchen, I would be obsessed with the Food Network. I was like, I love this. And my parents were like, get in the kitchen. Like at 5 years old, I was literally making salt-crusted fish. I was baking. I think I started my own online brownie company when I was 10 years old.
Wow.
And I went to several culinary schools during the summer. I went to ICC for 2 years. I did Sur la Table for probably 8. I did a whole bunch of little camps.
Nice.
I've always loved it, honestly.
Wow.
And my dad is on the business end, so I feel like I get that from him. Like, just watching him do what he does, handle literally everything that my mom does, that I do. It's inspiring, and he taught me a lot, like, when I was first getting off the ground, like, with my business. I have an online bakery now where I sell vegan and non-vegan cookies. And he was super helpful with me figuring out how to, like, deal with my money and payouts and everything like that. And, like, how to run a proper business, like, shipping and handling. And this is all before I got into college. So it was really helpful to have somebody in my corner to, like, teach me these things. And my mom, too. My mom is a businesswoman. And everybody thought I was going to go into fashion.
Of course.
And I was just like, that's not really my thing. But my mom supported me wanting to go into this business route. And even seeing how she runs her businesses, like being a CEO, like having her own company, like it's inspiring.
Running a company is not hard. It's not easy. It's hard. Running a successful business is hard. And there are a lot of us that can be really great at a lot of things and be really talented. But running a business, having a team, that's hard work. And so you had your first business at 10 years old.
Honestly, it was probably younger than that, but I remember my first online business was.
So how involved were you at 10 years old with the back end of it?
I mean, I was pretty much like running it. Like I was like every time I got an order, it would come through my computer. I would see it. I would bake the brownies. I would package them, and my dad would like help me like put the box together and like get the label on it, and I'd take it to the post office or leave it downstairs for pickup. Like it was really just.
So you were self-productive at 10 years old. They'd say, "Hey, listen, Summer, you got these orders over here. What are you doing? Summer, have you been paying attention to the business? You're on it."
I was the one who was just like I got once I got those notifications, it was up to me because it was a business that I wanted to run and I wanted the experience. So if I didn't hold up to my end, like my customers would complain, I would be like, people want refunds, and I never wanted that. So if I didn't keep up with it, then like that's me failing a business.
And you were aware of that pressure at 10 years old.
Yeah.
So now the difference between being a 10-year-old entrepreneur and now 19 having your own vegan baking or vegan cookies?
So my mom has been vegan for about, I think, 8 years now.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. It might be 7, 8.
Okay.
I don't know. And, I mean, I feel like my dad as well, he eats a lot of vegan foods when my mom cooks. And I'll try it, you know. I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
But I still do eat meat. But I really wanted to have something where they can both indulge also. And there's also, like, veganism is, like, it's a huge thing. Like, a lot of people are going, like, plant-based and vegan. So I wanted to have a product that reached those people as well. And, like, whenever I'd bake, my mom would be like, I can't have this. And I'm like, okay, well, let me make something that you can have.
Right.
But honestly, I think that because I love running the business, it doesn't really feel all that stressful. I really enjoy getting in the kitchen and baking. It's kind of like my escape or my version of, like, a therapy because whenever I'm stressed or overwhelmed, I literally go in the kitchen and I whip something up just because it's my place to like de-stress.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really think I'm not going to say it's easy because running a business is hard. It's a lot of maintenance, especially still being in school and time management. But I just really love what I do. So it's an enjoyable thing.
Was it a challenge in terms of the taste? Because, sometimes, some people are really good at cooking vegan, like are really good at it. But sometimes it can be an adjustment. And even when we talk about treats and sweets, was that adjustment of trying to find that right taste? And so it just tastes so good that it doesn't even taste vegan, but it's still vegan.
I was working on the recipes for a really, really long time. I think even like my regular cookies took me about 4 years just to like really get down. Like, 4 or 5 years for me to really be like, okay, this is the recipe that works and that I want to stick with. And for a while, I was very anti-vegan. If it had the word vegan in it, I was just like, it's not going to be good. I don't want it.
Right.
Until I started making my own cookies, and I was just like, this is good. Like, you don't really taste the difference, honestly. I think that the vegan cookie, if you gave it to somebody and didn't tell them it was vegan, they would have thought it was a regular cookie. Yeah. And that's the goal that I wanted. I didn't want it to taste like a vegan product. I wanted it to have the health benefits of being vegan for those who don't eat dairy and meat and everything like that, but also, like, literally taste like a regular cookie.
Yeah. Well, now that you're in Baltimore, I'm glad you get a chance to explore the Baltimore scene because, there's always restaurants popping up, but Baltimore is really exploring the vegan scene and vegetarian scene. So,
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. So, there's quite a few cool places to try and test the menu that I've actually enjoyed, and I like my meat, okay? So if I go and I have a good time and it's good, then it's definitely good for sure. You seem to just have such a serious work ethic that must be embedded from your parents. I don't know, because you just don't see that many people, especially young people, that are so focused on something, especially for so long, because it's easy for us to get burned out, to lose focus, to initially be really excited about something, and then eventually you might lose steam. It's all about that follow-up and follow-through. But 4 to 5 years to perfect a cookie recipe. A lot of people within year 1 and 2 would have been like, all right, I got to move on. Vegan cookies is not it, obviously.
There was definitely a time where I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. But it wasn't because I didn't love it. It was just because failing over and over again is hard for anyone, I feel like.
Absolutely.
And it really like tears down your confidence a little bit. But I just feel like because I really had a goal in mind and I don't like to not complete my goals, because I have life goals. I don't really have like daily goals. I just have overall goals that I want to achieve throughout my life. There may be age caps on some of them, but overall they're just like really broad goals so that within the subsections I can say like, okay, well, I've completed this. What's next to help get me to my final goal?
Yeah.
But there were definitely times where I was just like, this is stressful. I need to take some time off. I need to reevaluate. So I'm not going to say it was a steady 4 years. It was just like whenever I had time in between school to test out a recipe, that's what I was doing.
I guess watching your parents both navigate through the industry, it has its ups, it has its downs, it can get really crazy. Did that, growing up watching that, did that kind of speak a little bit to your work ethic or even just dealing with the bumps sometimes?
I feel like in any industry there's ups and downs, but I feel like for me, I don't really know. I feel like the major bump that I had was probably COVID. My business actually did really well during COVID because everybody was like ordering things online, but I was also like a teenager in high school, wasn't able to see my friends, was just in the house all the time and like was just doing school completely online. So it took a toll on me mentally where I was just like, I was just tired. Like I just wanted to sleep. I just wanted to, just watch TV, do my own thing. I didn't really have like this worth ethic. It was kind of gone. I was like, well, the world seems to be ending. So it was definitely like a hit to my confidence. So, and there was a lot of procrastination. But as soon as I got an order, I was like, okay, I have to get it done. I have to get it out. But I found myself slowly, like, this is draining.
Yeah, COVID was such a monster, and I know that people, especially in the news, we looked at the headlines and we looked at how it affected people, how it was affecting nurses and people working in the industry. But I don't know if there was a whole lot of attention to how it was affecting young people, students, that, like you said, I'm on lockdown, I can't see my friends, I'm just stuck to this phone.
And it was like, because to me, it was like it was a dumb complaint. It was like, people are dying, people are sick, and I'm sitting here like complaining like, oh, I can't see my friends. So I never really talked about it. And I mean, it's not like I didn't have things to do. Like my mom and I, we started the June and Summer and June show, whatever you want to call it. So we ended up doing like those daily vlogs, and those got me like out of the bed, like and like doing something. But it was just like I didn't really feel like I was able to say like, oh, I'm sad because I'm in the house, because there were so many lives being lost,
Right.
and so many people that were so sick and hospitalized, some of my family members included. So that's what I tried to remember. But I also had to remind myself, like, it's okay to not be okay just because you feel for other people.
Absolutely.
Like, I can feel for other people and still for myself, like, hey, I'm having a bad day. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, we're mammals, we need interaction. We're not meant to be isolated and alone, and the isolation was hard on a lot of people. So, not to feel that your concerns and how you were feeling was invalid, but I understand your point. So we're glad you made it to Baltimore, right? It's time for you to embark upon college. And you made the choice of not just Baltimore, but Morgan State University in particular. So how did that come about? Why Morgan? Why Baltimore?
So I graduated high school at 16. I skipped my senior year. And I also graduated during COVID, like literally on a Zoom, like
Wow.
through my cap, like in a very small, like little class.
Did you get to do prom, any of that? Was everything canceled?
I didn't. So I went to a public high school in New York City for the first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year. And then I transferred to an online academy for child professionals.
Okay.
So I could travel and do all these things. Also, it was just like easier with COVID to be in a different environment.
Gotcha.
And I wanted to take AP classes, which I was able to do, and my public school didn't offer it. And I just felt like it was time for me to make a little bit of a switch. So I transferred to a different school, and then I ended up graduating there within the year. And it was also a hard time to apply to colleges. Like, there were over 100,000 kids that applied to NYU and, like, all these huge schools. And, even if with the perfect grades, it was still a challenge. And I had always made incredible grades, and I felt like I had great recommendations and a great letter, but I still didn't get into a lot of the schools that I wanted to get into. And I was also still trying to figure out, like, the direction in terms of where I wanted to go. And I ended up choosing Savannah College of Art and Design. So I went to SCAD online for a year.
Okay.
And I was a business of beauty and fragrance major. And that was because I feel like I wanted to stick with my creative side, because I was battling between if I wanted to be strictly business or also creative, because I feel like I'm a little bit of both. And I ended up going there, and it was a great school. I just figured out that I learned better with more academic-driven classes.
Okay.
So taking classes like color theory were driving me nuts.
Okay.
Like, it didn't resonate with me. I was like, this is not fun. I wasn't enjoying it, and I've always loved school. So for me to have gotten to college and felt like I wasn't enjoying it, it hurt me. And it's not that I didn't love the school. It's just that the classes and the majors that they offer were limiting to me, and I felt like I was in a box. So I said to my parents, like, I want to transfer out. And COVID was lifting up. There was a little less kids applying to schools. Because the reason there was over 100,000 kids applying is because from the following year, a lot of kids did a gap year. Because of COVID, they didn't want to be online, so all those kids got pushed over into the next year. So when I transferred, there was a lot more, like, spaces and opportunities. So I applied to, I think, 15 schools, and I got into 14 of the schools that I applied to.
Okay.
But I was also like, I want to go to an HBCU. I wanted to experience the community, the culture, just like being around incredible, like-minded Black creatives. And I feel like that's what Morgan offered me. And my parents were just like, where did you even, like...
Where did this come
from? Where did this switch come from? And it was a shock to, like, everybody that I was choosing an HBCU. And I don't really know why it was a shock, because I'm just like, HBCUs are incredible schools.
Yeah.
So, I applied to Howard and Morgan, and, like, I did, like, the typical
Right.
HBCUs. And I toured Morgan on, like, the driest day.
Okay.
Like, not a person in sight on that campus. And I stepped foot on campus, and I was just like, this is where I want to continue my education. There was no doubt in my head. Like, I was just like, this is where I want to go.
Wow.
It was just a feeling that I had, and I couldn't really explain it to anyone.
Yeah.
It's just, like, in my heart, like, in my soul, I was just like, I'm going to love it here. And at the time, like, we came in on a day trip. We went straight to campus, didn't really tour any other part of Baltimore. I was just like, I don't know why I love it here so much, but I do. Without even seeing any students, without even understanding the culture that Morgan had to offer, I committed to Morgan.
Wow.
And when I came on campus first week as a transfer, and being a transfer student is hard because you don't have the freshman week experience, you don't have that orientation, like, you really are coming in, and, like, you just have to kind of find your way, like, and meet your friends and meet people. And I met a lot of people through social media when I posted that I was transferring to Morgan, so that was a little bit easier for me to, like, make friends. But I just feel like if I went straight in, not even announcing that I was going there, it would have been a little bit of a challenge to, like, find people and figure it out, because I think that I'm a little bit of an anxious person.
Okay.
So I'm not the type to, like, run into the middle of the group, like, hey, guys, like, let's be friends.
You're not the type?
No.
Okay.
I'm the quiet girl in the class who just does her work and kind of minds her business. I'm kind of just, like, there. Like, I'll walk around campus with my AirPods in. Like, I'm here. But I feel like I'm a nice person. Like, when people get to know me, they're just like, who would have known you were, like, this person behind this, like, shy, quiet person? But, yeah, I think that the adjustment was a little bit hard for me in terms of making friends. But in terms of, like, the culture and the community and what I experienced as a transfer was incredible.
Now, was your mom like, oh, my baby, Baltimore, oh?
My mom was more of, like, you're moving away far. Because my mom and I we're like this.
Yeah.
Even my dad, I feel like we're a really close family. So for me to be the youngest, because my brother's older, so for me to be the youngest kid leaving the house, they're just like, oh my God, like, you're leaving. But I'm like, guys, I'm a 3-hour drive away.
You're still on the Eastern Seaboard.
I'm
you're
right
still right there in the corridor.
I could drive home on weekends, and I did a lot last semester.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an adjustment. We were sad. I mean, when I got to my apartment, when I moved here, there was a moment of tears. Like, I'm leaving home. It was sad, and I did miss my parents. I still miss my parents, but it was like, I was like, okay, I'm like fully alone. Like, I come home, like, I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Like, it was an adjustment. And I talk to my parents a lot, like, probably more than I should, like, multiple times a day. Like, there's a check-in.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. So how has Baltimore been treating you?
I haven't really explored Baltimore that well.
We have to get you out.
Yeah.
We have to get you out.
I've really just been between, like, my apartment, my friends' dorms, campus. Like, I've explored, like, a couple restaurants, like, when my parents were visiting. But, like, other than that, like, I just stay within where I know, like, I feel safe.
Yeah, that's safe. But, we got to get you out.
And no, but I did do, like, the college party thing. I experienced it. I was just like, okay, this is something, like,
You're like, I've seen these parties since I was 4. I do VIP. I've done this already.
No, not even that. I mean, like, I experienced, like, the college party life.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just, like, it was a little different. Like, I was, like, the designated driver. I don't smoke and drink, so I'm just here, like, I'm just, like, the little floaty friend, like, okay.
Make sure everybody gets back to the dorm.
Right, like, make sure everybody's good. But it's a weird experience, like, being at a college party. I don't know. It's just, like, we're just here, like, the same music plays at every single party, like, and they party on, like, Wednesdays. Like, I'm like, we have class. Like,
yeah, well, that's part of the college life is party early.
It's wild until, like, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like,
and then up for classes.
It's not for me.
So being an entrepreneur and a student at the same time, how do you balance that in terms of schedule?
Well, the thing I love about college is that you can make your own schedules.
Yes.
So I kind of planned my classes around the days that I want to be in school, so that I have the opportunity to spend a lot of time on homework, cook, bake, run a business. So I think that I balanced out my schedule really well in a way that works for me. But for a
Yeah.
lot of other people, it's a little bit packed to have so many classes with split between 2 days or split within 3 days.
Yeah, sure.
And I take a full class load. I'm maxed out of credits. So
How many credits are you
I
currently
take
taking?
18.
18 is up there.
Yeah, I think you can get an extension of credits, but that's the
They
max.
cut you off at a certain.
That's the limit. Because I remember when I first transferred into Morgan, I took 7 classes. And
Okay.
that took me out.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And now I've been steadily taking 6, which isn't really much of a difference, but
Right, but a little more.
it's a little less rigorous, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just think that the balance is really all about the person. I think that if you're motivated and you don't procrastinate, like, you really will get a lot done. And obviously I have my days where I'm just like, it's not gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
like, I'm tired. Like, it's been a long day of classes. Like, I'm not gonna do content today. I'm gonna make dinner, and maybe I'll do a story of like, oh, what I made for dinner. But I'm not gonna do a full on like reel about step by step, because that's time consuming. Or like
Yeah.
film a YouTube video. I'll do like a little story like, hey, this is what I made, and I'll go sit on the couch, put on my TV, and eat and sleep. Like, it's
Yeah.
just because it's tiring.
Folks that don't do content creation, I think sometimes don't understand the amount of time and effort that goes into making a 3-4 minute video even. It's a lot of work. And,
Yeah.
and you have to be consistent.
It's like you can film for 2 hours, and you could have a solid 3-minute clip.
Yeah.
And even sometimes it's still not even enough. It's stretching. You're watching a video of you talking for entirely too long.
Yeah.
So it's difficult.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I mean, I think for me, like, I have to film my content, but I do not like editing, like, at all. It's not my thing.
Okay.
And my cousin is in film. And when I first started doing YouTube videos, she's like, I would love to edit and film for you. So when I was in New York, she would do a lot of my content, and she would film for me. She would edit my videos, send it back to me. I would just send her content on whatever cameras I had. I
Nice.
had the light set up and everything. So now that's still how I operate. I film, and she'll edit for me. But if I'm doing content for Instagram, I will film and edit it. But for YouTube, like the intro and all that stuff, I don't know. It was hard.
Yeah.
I was just, and it's not that, like, I just didn't love it. It made the process of creating content really unenjoyable for me, but I loved the idea of making the content. It was just putting it together that, like, kind of made me miserable.
Yeah.
And because I had the opportunity to have an editor, and my cousin being literally so amazing and so supportive, I was just like, let's do it. Like, let's partner together. And it also helped her because she got to build her portfolio. And when she applied for jobs, being like, oh, I worked on this, I filmed this, I was on the
Yeah.
set of this for behind the scenes. So,
Yeah, the perks of having talented family.
right. And
Yeah.
I love that, like, I can keep things within the family. And, like, you always have somebody, like, doing this. Like, I have cousins who are in law, who want to be veterinarians, who are in film, photography, like,
Yeah.
all over the place, fashion. So it's just great to, like, have a little bubble of, like, your own, like, creative world.
Yeah, keep it in the family.
Yeah.
So since you've been at Morgan, you've been taking on a full load in terms of classes. You have your side business. You're baking. And besides baking for business, you're still taking time to cook for yourself because that's therapeutic and that's what you like to do. And in the midst of all that, you create a collaboration with Puma and Morgan State University, which is really exciting and fun to see. So tell me a little bit about that and how that came about.
So, my mom is the creative director for Puma Women's Basketball. So I did a lot of work with them. I was in my mom's campaigns for her collection. I was doing, like, ambassador work for them, like Mother's Day campaigns, all these, like, little things. And I love Puma. I love their stuff. And
Yeah.
I just felt like there was a lot of people, especially, like, my age, who weren't, like, really rocking Puma. And I wanted to, like, I was like, my mom's collection is incredible.
Right.
I was like,
why aren't you wearing my mama's stuff?
What's happening? So I did a lot of videos promoting her collections because I love them. I'm the type of person who is not going to promote something that I don't like.
Of course.
If I don't like it, I'm not doing it.
That's good because your fan base will trust you.
It's very organic, yeah. And I'll say, like, this isn't for me, so that I won't do it. I want people to feel like they can trust me, and, like, I'm not going to steer them wrong, because I'm not about selling people something that I don't believe in, especially if it doesn't work or resonate with me. So going back to the project, so I had the opportunity to do a shoot, and there were so many incredible and talented kids at Morgan. I was like, we have models, we have videographers, we have photographers, like, we have people in music. I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And I was like, people are trying to build their portfolios, make it a little fun experience. So I talked to my mom, and I was like, Mom, I want to do a project at Morgan times Puma. And it was a little bit like, whoa, because you know, Baltimore is Under Armour. Morgan is sponsored by Under Armour. So to, like, have all this Puma on campus was just like, whoa.
Well.
But it was just like, I didn't think of it as, like, a competing type of thing. I just felt like because I had the opportunity to get product from Puma and work with so many talented kids at Morgan, I wanted to do it. So I did a post. I was like, anybody who wants to be a part of it, let me know. And I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages.
Wow.
And I was just like, I can't have all these people, like, model.
Yeah.
So I randomly chose 40 different people. I had a team of 6 videographers and photographers and 34 models that I had to dress, and I had to direct and produce the entire project by myself.
Oh my gosh.
Which was stressful. It was a lot. I had a lot of friends who, like, helped me hand out the clothes and everything like that, so I'm so thankful to them. But, like, at the end of the day, I was taking on the pressure of, like, this project falling apart. And I had to make it around everybody's schedule. Like, we had spring break coming up. I was like, we need to either get it done before or after.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot. Even the editing process, I gave all the photographers and videographers full creative freedom because I wanted to see their talent. I want them to feel like they can express themselves through the video. I gave everybody a mood board, like, I want to highlight community, Black love. You know, there were certain things that I wanted to highlight so that we still captured, like, kind of like my vision a little bit, but they had full creative freedom in terms of editing. And the models were incredible, like the sweetest people, like just grateful to be a part of a project, to build their portfolios. And I love seeing them still post, like, I was a part of a Puma takeover times Morgan. And even Morgan showed so much love to the project, which I appreciated, you know, on Instagram. They were liking, commenting, whatever. Like, it was just so great to see that the project turned out and that everybody had a good time. And for me, it was less about, like, it benefiting me, because I don't think that, like, that is my area, like, production and directing.
Okay.
This is my second Puma project that I actually did.
Okay.
I did another one, I believe about 2 years, I think 2 years ago now, with my mom's collection.
Okay.
And this one was a Puma Classic shoot, but obviously 10 times bigger. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really feel like production and direction were something I wanted to get into until I started doing these projects. So for me, it was really more about, like, letting other people and my audience, because I'm grateful enough to have such a huge audience. I wanted them to see, like, all the creatives at Morgan, like, and highlight them. And I'm just like, if you guys are looking for models, you guys are looking for videographers, they're talented kids right here in college looking for incredible opportunities and looking to get off their feet. So I just felt like it was a great place to show, like, this is where you can find everyone. Like, use them.
Here you go. Here's a pool.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Like, take advantage of it. It's an opportunity. But I feel like now that I've done 2 shoots, I'm like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something that I want to get into, but we'll see. I'm still debating.
So dynamic, man, all at 19 years old. And then you had another collaboration with Cloudy Donuts, which is popular here. Love their donuts just because they're so out the box. Besides being yummy, just so out the box. And Cloudy also has New York ties. So it has New York ties and Baltimore ties. So did you get connected with Cloudy through the New York ties or through Baltimore ties?
So it was actually so funny. We were at my Puma shoot, and I had a friend, and she was like, do you want donuts? And I was like, I don't need it, but I totally want one.
Of course I do.
I totally want one. And she went, like, right up the block, because it's right around the corner from Morgan. And she got a box of donuts. I had, like, a regular, like, cinnamon sugar donut. And I was like...
What is this?
I was like, girl. I was like, this is crazy. And she's like, it's vegan. I was like, you're lying. And I, like, ran to tell my mom. I was like, Mom, I found the most incredible, like, vegan donut spot ever. Like, my friend showed it to me. Like, It's incredible. You have to try it. And I sent the Instagram to her, and she clicks the DM, and they DM'd her and was like, hey, I want you and Summer to come into the shop and try our donuts. So it was like a full circle moment. Like, I was like, Mom, no way you missed this message. Like, we have to go. So when I went back to New York, my mom and I went into the New York location, and we created this, like, natural, organic bond with Derek and Zodi, the owners. And we ended up just having a conversation, and I was like, I'm in culinary, and they wanted to do a collaboration.
Wow.
So I had an end of summer pop-up with them. I created 6 flavors, and I put them on the base of their donuts and promoted it with all of my people. We were a fully sold out event, which I'm so grateful for.
Yeah.
And I was really happy. I was really excited for the opportunity to showcase, like, my culinary, like, in my culinary dreams, like, but, like, in person, because everything I do is run online. So to have something like this, like, in person with a brand that I really love and that I could really speak to, like I was like, there's no way this is vegan. It tasted better than a regular donut. So
That's
I
how
was
it's
just
supposed
like,
to be.
And then, like, I feel like it was even better because I was able to put some of my creativity into them with my flavors. So it was exciting. And I'm actually doing something with them for Morgan's homecoming.
Nice.
The truck is coming to campus, and we're going to do a few of my flavors on the truck.
Ooh.
So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, the pop-up happened in New York, but I found out about them in Baltimore.
Yeah. So the best is yet to come for you, Summer. What's on your goals list that you haven't done yet?
A lot, actually.
I believe that too.
I want to get into beauty. I want to get into hair care. It's always something that I've loved. I think that I realized that when I was making videos of, like, my morning routine, everybody was like, hair care routine, skincare routine, everything like that. And I was just like, you guys really want to see this? And they were just like, you need to drop content. This is what we want to see. And the thing that I struggled with is I have super sensitive skin. I have eczema, I have hand dermatitis, and I've struggled with it for a very long time. And other than, like, prescription medication, there's nothing really over the counter that I found works for me.
Okay.
So one of my goals is to hopefully eventually work on some skincare product to help people who also have eczema, who also have hand dermatitis, because it's a really big issue.
Yeah.
And I know that there are a lot of brands out there who are working on it, but none of them worked for me. And I know that a lot of people have that same struggle, like, not finding products that work for them. So that's super important to me. In terms of, like, skincare, like, for my face, I really think that, like, a lot of it has to do with genetics. Because people always ask me, like, what I put on my face. And when my skin was the clearest, it really is just soap and water.
Okay.
So I was just, like, I really couldn't, like, speak to that. Because I kind of feel like I skipped, like, the really big, like, typical, like, acne stage. But when I do have, like, little flare-ups and I'm just like, okay, what product needs to work, I don't find that product for me because my skin is super, super sensitive. Like, the littlest things make my eyes red, skin gets super dry. So I want to make a product that, like, works for, like, when I am having flare-ups, but also for these other people who are looking for, like, a universal skincare product that works for them and that's specifically designed for them. And the same thing with hair care. I found a lot of products that I absolutely love. A lot of them are really, really expensive, so it's hard to, like, promote a product that costs, like, $250
Yeah, for sure.
to somebody who's, like, looking for the perfect hair. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, especially
like,
college students.
It's not realistic.
Yeah.
While the product is incredible, it's not the most ideal. And I feel like a lot of these companies have hair care products that are really great, but who they work for is a little bit, like, some products are a little too universal for me. Like, they're built for curly heads, but when they're used on straight hair, it's like, I don't know. It does something, and it's a little confusing about like if this works for me. Low porosity hair, high porosity hair,
Yeah.
your curl texture. I haven't really felt like a really good universal brand that has a full set of products that work for my hair. Because what I use right now is a mix of like a billion different things
To make it all work.
to make it work.
And you want to find that line that
I want a
makes it
bottle
work.
that works.
Yeah.
Just one bottle. Like literally, my hair jar is unbelievable. Like it's overflowing with like a million different things just to get like the perfect curl and perfect bounce, and I'm just like, it's too much.
Yeah.
Like hair falls out, hair breaks, like and your hair changes like I think every 10 years. So I'm dealing with like my hair changing, losing hair, stress of COVID, trying to grow my hair back, and I'm just like, I need to figure out what works for me.
Yeah.
So I'm currently working on something that I'm going to announce very, very soon in terms of hair care that I've been testing out and that's been working for me. So I'm really excited for that. So that's the goal that like I'm currently working on.
Okay.
And I feel like I'm currently achieving. But other than hair care, skin care, I just feel like continuing to run like a successful business, hopefully branch out with my cookies in stores, you know, things like that. But I'm still figuring out like my whole life. Not everything's so set in stone for
You're
me right
19.
now. Yeah.
You're still a teenager, technically.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned, but you have it a lot more together than a lot of folks, I have to say.
I feel like I have a good focus.
Yeah, you definitely. You mentioned earlier, you know, having a regimen, morning affirmations. And you're like, why do people want to watch this? But there are so many people that lack having a routine. And a routine can really be so helpful in just setting off your day, setting your productivity, and a whole lot of different things. How important is that to you to have your regimen, your routine of morning affirmations, your skin care, hair care, different things like that?
It's definitely important. I feel like when I do all these things, I feel put together. I feel like my life is a little better. Like especially if I'm having like a hectic day, it just really makes me feel like I'm gonna be okay and like I have a little more control over my life. And the reason I started doing affirmations is because my dad sent me a study, which was like your body is I believe 70% water.
Yeah.
And water holds memory. So there was a study where these kids were yelling negative things at the water, and within 24 hours, it had bacteria in the cup. And they did another study where they were saying all positive things, and there was no bacteria in the cup or less bacteria.
Oh, wow.
So my dad was like, you know, wake up in the morning, tell yourself you're healthy, you're strong, you're beautiful. You know, just like remind yourself that you're okay.
Yeah.
And give yourself positive energy so that, you know, you don't have this quote unquote like bacteria growing because you're speaking all this negativity into yourself. Like if you tell yourself you don't feel well, your brain is going to tell you like, yeah, you're right, you don't feel well and your body's going to start to shut down. But a lot of the times it really could just be in your head and you really are fine, but you need to remind yourself that you're okay. You may be having a bad day or you might be having a bad moment, but overall, like, you're okay.
Yeah.
So that was important to me, and I feel like I've started to see a change, especially mentally and like how I feel, and I feel like I'm very at peace. I feel like mental health is a really big issue that a lot of people don't talk about, especially being like teenagers and being in college. So reminding myself that like even on my bad days, I'm going to be okay. Having this routine really helps me. I love my hair wash days. I love my skincare days. I love like my spa days where I'm just by myself doing yoga, reminding myself like, hey, you're okay.
Yeah.
It was really important, especially because I've been suffering with pretty severe migraines for the past 3 years. Like every day I had a migraine. And, you know, I did the whole run around with the doctors, and I'm still going through it and figuring out what works for me. But what's been helping is these affirmations, like my dad saying to me, like, you know, if you have a headache, tell yourself you're okay. You don't have a headache, you feel okay. And while the headache still might be there, you telling your body that you feel okay is going to trying to help you feel okay, because to rely on medication every single day for a headache is a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, while I'm dealing with that and school and everything like that, I'm like, I need to figure out a way to keep myself healthy. So I'm trying natural routes and figuring out like what works for me, figuring out like how to deal with gut health and how to keep my skin clear and what's good for my body. So it's not just about what you tell yourself, it's about what you put in your body, working out, which is something I'm still trying to work on. It's hard.
It is. It's
to
discipline.
Work out. And I'm really trying to like at least 3 times a week, you know, go to the gym, do some yoga, like, you know, help my body feel a little bit better. But having a
Yeah.
routine is hard, especially in college, because you have late nights, you have early nights. Like sometimes I go to bed at 10, other nights I go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But I have to keep a strict schedule. Like I want to be in bed at 10 and I want to wake up at 8 and start my day, even 7. There's
Yeah.
so much going on in the morning that I miss. So having a routine is really helpful. And I love being home because I go to bed early. I wake up at 8. My mom's like, let's get out the house. I get to go to the farmer's market. I get to go for walks with my dad.
Yeah.
So routine is important, but it's hard to keep up by myself in college. So I'm
Yeah.
still working on that balance.
So you have a little more time at Morgan. You're
do.
studying what exactly at Morgan?
I'm a business administration major, hoping to declare a double minor by the end of the semester.
Okay. And what has been one of the more, besides coming onto campus and just having that feeling like this is where I'm supposed to be, what has been one of the more memorable experiences here in Baltimore and at Morgan?
I think that's the memories with my friends. Honestly, I just feel like the experience that we have are just incredible. I threw a Labor Day barbecue, what was that, 2 days ago? Yeah, I believe 2 days ago. And it was just so fun, like, to be with my friends, to laugh, to sing, to dance, to eat together. It's just the community that I'm building here and that we're all building together is, like, incredible to me. Like, I really feel like I found my people. And, like, you know, they say in college, like, oh, you find, like, your bridesmaids, like, the people you want at your wedding, like, your best friends for life. And while, of course, I still have my best friends from 18-plus years, whatever the case is.
Of course.
But the friends you make in college are, like, unreal. Like, these
Yeah.
feel like lifelong bonds. So I just feel like having that experience has really been, like, amazing.
Yeah, lifelong friends for sure. Well, we're glad to have you in Baltimore. We're glad to have you at Morgan State and glad to have you here today on the To Be More podcast. I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad that you could make it. For folks that I know that a lot of people already follow you, Summer, already familiar with who you are. I need to find out more about what she's about. What's the best way to do that?
My Instagram, Summer Hope Chamblin, or my website, summerchamblin.com. Yeah.
So glad to have you here. Glad that you could join us and just giving you continued encouragement. You don't need it from me because you were just a full force. You were moving, but just to let you know, somebody over here is just proud of what you're doing, all the accomplishments that you've made so far in your young 19 years, and I'm really excited to see what you have ahead.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, man. Make sure you connect with Summer Hope Chamblin. Make sure you connect with her and look her up. And if you missed any episodes of the To Be More podcast, you can log on WMAR2news.com. I'm Erica Kane, and thanks for joining us here on the To Be More podcast.